Thank you so much for staying with me. My name is Ngozi Adeleye, founder CrunchEconometrix. In this video, I will be using Stata inbuilt IVREG and IVREGRESS on a bivariate model to estimate instrumental variable techniques. The link to the data and the Stata do file are both in the video description. Click on the links. It will take you to my ResearchGate profile where you can access both documents or both files. So here we'll be using two state least squares, but we are going to be using the IVREG and IVREGRESS routine in Stata. So starting with the IVREG routine in Stata. So instead of engaging a piecemeal regression using reg, Stata can do it at once using IVREG. So let's go to Stata. So using IVREG, as you can see right here, I have the code IVREG log of which educ equals spider educ first. The first option here is for Stata to show me both the first stage result and the second stage result, okay? And I want Stata to also store the results. So I'm going to highlight both lines and execute. So this is the result using IVREG. Instead of doing it in piecemeal, at once, Stata gets this done. So the first stage regression is what you can see here, okay? Where father educ is the instrument. Okay, so this is the first stage regression. This is a reduced form regression. We can see the coefficients. I'm going to explain this more from my PowerPoint slides. And below that, we have the second stage regression, as you can see here, where we now have educ hearts. Even though Stata will not put heart here, this is educ heart, okay? So the below table shows the results for the structural model, where we have log of which as a function of educ hearts. And finally, underneath the table, you can see Stata has provided the information that you have used. You are instrumenting education, and the instrument you have used is father educ. So from IVREG, this is the first stage regression. We have seen that the father educ coefficient is 0.27 approximately, and statistical significance at 9.43, which is the t-statistics, the p-value is 0. So the result shows that father educ is a very, very relevant instrument for us to correct the endogeneity of education. And this is very similar from the results we obtained from the two state least squares when we used in our previous model, okay? If you recall that result, this is very similar to that. So this is the second stage result. And if you look closely, this is very similar to the ones obtained when we used a piecemeal approach for the two state least squares. Very similar to that result, okay? Here we have that educ heart with the same coefficient of 0.59. It has a p-value of 0.093, okay? And the t-statistics is 1.68. So this result is kind of very dicey. Dicey in the sense that it is not significant at the 5% level, but significant at the 10% level. So if we have a conservative researcher, such a researcher can say, well, looking at the p-value, I would say education is 0, such that it does not have any impact on the log of which. But if we have a more liberal researcher, such a person can say, well, at the 10% level, I would say that education still has a weak positive effect on the log of which. So it depends on how you are going to classify it. Now, if you look at the bottom of the table, the instrument, father educ, is listed, and the variable that is instrumented, which is the endogenous variable, is also indicated. So you have both information at the bottom of the table. Next, I'm going to deploy the IVREGRESS routine in Stata. Please note that the Stata IVREGRESS syntax is a significant enhancement to IVREG and the user-written command IVREG2. So here's the code for IVREGRESS. So you can see IVREGRESS two state least squares, log of which, in the brackets we have education equals father educ first. Again, I want Stata to show me both the first and second stage results. And I'm telling Stata to store the result for me because I want to compare. I'm highlighting both, executing. So this is using IVREGRESS, okay? Don't forget. This is the first stage regression on the upper part of the table. Look at father educ coefficient 0.26 or 7 approximately. P-value very significant at the 1% level. Below that is the second stage of the regression. And finally, below the table, we have the instrumented, that is the endogenous variable listed as educ, and the instrument that we used is father educ. So let's go to PowerPoint. So like I said, anytime you use option first, Stata is going to report the first stage regression, and the second stage will follow below the table. Now, looking at the coefficient of the instrument, we can say that father educ is relevant because the p-value is significant at the 1% level, so it's a very good instrument to correct the endogeneity of education. For the second stage results shown below the table, this is what we have. Educ is the exogenous regressor. Remember, this is Educ now, even though Stata will not show it as Educ. The coefficient is significant at the 10% level, positive at 0.059. If you look closely, it is the same coefficient with the IVREG, okay? Not significant at 5%, but significant at 10. So it depends on your level of acceptance of your statistical significance. If you're a 5% researcher, you can say, well, education heart is 0. But if you're a very liberal researcher, you can say, well, I will say educ heart has a weak positive impact on the log of wage. So that wraps up two-state least squares using Stata inbuilt IVREG and IVREGRESS on the bivariate model. All through these videos, I've used a cross-sectional data, and I've provided how you can get the data in the video description. Please don't go away. In my next video, I'll be comparing the results that I obtained across all these different approaches.